Computer vision can pretty much be used in any field out there, whether we're talking about like doing text extraction, detecting different objects and so on, but we can also use it in HR. So for human resources, how can we go in and enhance and improve workflows? Could be that you're a smaller company and you basically just want to automate some different flows. Could also be that you're a very large corporation and you want to go in and use computer vision. Could be attendance system with facial recognition. Could also be that you want to integrate like OCR, like detect different things and so on in resumes, CVs, and also just basically you can run facial recognition on top of it, post estimation to see how is the pose of people when you're doing interviewing and so on. So that's what we're going to cover in this video, how we can use computer vision in human resources. So first of all here, I'm just going to pull up this graph here where we can see how much is expected to grow this market in HR and actually like just using AI in this field. Computer vision again is just like a small branch or like one branch of AI, can be combined with other different kind of things. We can use computer vision, we can combine that with large language models to generate reports and so on. We can do high level analysis based on what we can see. So we can both combine text, we can combine vision and so on, but here we can see how the market is expected to grow. So it's very important to focus on how can we integrate artificial intelligence into our HR systems. So this is actually pretty cool. It is expected to grow to around like $27 billion here in 2033. So that's still like a long way to go, but we can just see how it's basically just going up over time, year after year. So this is a very good area to go in and invest in, and also just to make sure that you're up to date with the newest AI technologies. So when we're talking about human resources, it is basically just about managing employees, making sure that the company is running around, like could be hiring new employees and so on, and also just brand attraction. So we have this whole employee life cycle. It's really important to understand how HR works before we know how we can actually integrate computer vision into that. So we have brand attraction to start with. We want to attract employees and so on. Could be job posting. We want to make ourselves stand out as well. It's not only the candidates that need to stand out, but also businesses if you want to attract the best talent. Then it can go into recruitment, then the onboarding phase after recruitment, development, retention, and then at the end also separation in case of that. So this is basically just a whole cycle going over and over, and the human resource team is basically just taking care of that, making sure that all employees, they have what they want and also just happy. So if you have a very good work environment where people, they feel valued but also motivated, it can actually like increase their productivity by up to 21%. So now we know what HR are. We're going to talk about how we can integrate computer vision into it, also the different steps here from our wheel for the employee life cycle. So first of all here, we can go in and streamline attendance system with facial recognition. So instead of like having manually have to book in or act like just use an access card or whatever, you can use facial recognition instead. So that basically just contains a bunch of different steps in the computer vision pipeline. First of all, we need to do face detection. You can use the Ultralytics YOLO models for that, which just detect the face. Then we want to extract the features, so that could be specific unique features from each face that we're detecting. Once we have done that, we could have like a separate neural network that goes in and does the feature extraction. Then we're going to match that with some algorithms, could also be deep learning based, with an actual like photo that we have stored in a database. And then we actually just have to log it at the end. This is the 4 steps that we have in a pipeline for an attendance systems. So if you're looking for computer vision systems, not only in HR, but just a very cool project to make, it's relatively simple to set up. You can just run the Ultralytics models, set up the different algorithms to match the new detections with a database, and then you can create this attendance system. So this can save a ton of resources, act like not having to manually go through it, also do logging, but also just to monitor the employees if you're looking for that in your human resources. If you have a very large company, it can take up a significant amount of time if you have to do a lot of manual work here. Could also be smart proctoring for HR assessments. Could be that you're doing like online training, exams, interviews and all that. We can also go and use computer vision. First of all, we can verify the identity when we're working remote, when we're just sitting in meeting and so on. It's very important that we can go in and verify the identity. We can also go in and monitor the environment, detect different objects and so on. Could be that you want to detect the phones, TVs, or whatever. Could pretty much be any object that you don't want to have in the environment. You can go in and monitor that for exams and so on. So this is a way that computer vision can be used. But also like if you're doing eye tracking or whatever, you can see if people are looking down, looking into notes, or where they're basically looking instead of into the camera. So this is also a very cool feature that you can use computer vision for in HR. Could be for training, could be for screening process, interview process, and so on. So this is very awesome. AI in recruitment is taking a huge role because we can automate so many different things. When you send a resume to the big companies, they actually just have a scanning tool running through the whole document and so on, doing summaries and all that. We can combine it with large language models. Again, we just have a lot of text, but we can also integrate the facial expressions, the body poses and so on. So let's say that you're in an interview, you can run the YOLO models for post estimation, so you get the different key points in your body. Then you can run prediction models if people are laying back during the interview, if they're leaning forward, they're feeling more motivated, but they're also interested about hearing more. So a lot from our body pose actually tells us about both our emotions, but also how interested we are. So you can use it together with some of the summaries. So let's say that you have like auto recording, you've probably seen the chatbot that does summaries and so on. You can integrate that together with the computer vision system, extract information, incorporate that, and merge it into the summaries that you have from the large language models as well. And then we can create this whole pipeline where we're going to detect and basically just filter our candidates based on like facial expressions and so on. Of course, we can combine it with the summaries, with the text and so on, but it can save a significant amount of time. Let's say that you have like thousands, like hundreds, thousands of applications and so on, or basically just interviews. So it can be used for like doing ranking systems, filtering out candidates and so on, because again, so many companies, they just get tons of applications, want to actually put up a job posting. So this is a really time-saving feature that you can use computer vision for. Of course, there's always pros and cons when we use computer vision in HR. Like again, it's very scalable when we have computer vision, so that's one of the pros. We can relatively easy get a computer vision model up and running. We just need to build a system and we can scale it depending on the size of your business. So it could be that you have like 10 employees, but it could also be like you have 10,000 employees, then it's basically just running the exact same models, building the same system. So this can be really time consuming. And again, it basically just scales with the number of employees you have, but also just the size of the company. Long-term cost savings, again, you can save a ton of cost over time, and it's basically just increasing as long as like your company is growing and all that, but it is saving a ton of time, so they can focus more on like having the people, the employees and so on, having fun, being motivated, so we increase their productivity, because again, at the end of the day, like people do most work when they actually like feel valued, but also motivated in their work environment, which is the main purpose and the main goal for human resources. So yeah, it will reduce the administrative burden a lot, but there's also some concerns and consequences by using computer vision. Again, there could be ethical concerns because we could do facial recognition, we can track some different features in the human faces and so on that could raise some ethical concerns and so on. But again, we're not really storing it, we're not sharing it with anything and so on. We just have AI models producing some outputs, and then we match that together with a database. High implementation cost as well and so on. We need to build a system. Doesn't matter if you're 10 employees, 100 employees, we need to build a system, and then you can scale it after, and you will have the cost savings over time, pretty much as any other software system. Integration with existing softwares, like again, ton of old HR systems and so on, which might be hard to integrate into, but it really depends on the case. This is some pretty cool stuff that we can do in human resources, can save you a ton of time. Very cool to go in and use computer vision integrated with the large language models. All of it is kind of like coming together now, so you can get summaries based on everything. Make sure that you have the most optimal human resources. Make your employees motivated, happy, so they're more productive, put in more work, and that's it for this video. I hope to see you guys in one of the upcoming videos. Until then, happy learning.